my name is Miriam and I love everything about reading. Welcome to this new video where I'll be holding some books. It's actually a really big haul and normally I don't buy that many books in one time. This is only the second time in my life where I bought like 25 books over the course of 2 months. So usually my hauls are not as big as this, but well, for now it is. I try to figure out a good order in which to hold the books. I will show them to you, sometimes tell a bit more about the book, but you might see loads of these books in my weekly wrap up videos where I tell more about the books. So I'm trying to do it as quick as possible and I try to find a logical order to present you the books. And I thought starting out with non-fiction would be a good idea because in November and December I got I think 5 non-fiction books and loads of others. I'm not entirely sure how much. I think 26, 27, something like that. But we'll start out with the non-fiction stack. First is this one, Won't He Be Mild. It is a memoir by Rob Temple. I simply bought this book because I saw it at the Facebook page of Very British Problems. And it is actually by the owner of the page. I think he wrote the book and I thought well, the cover is lovely and I think this is a great subject. And not all of us want to live a wild life full of adventures. I read snippets of the book and so far they make me laugh. The second and third books are 2 books by C.S. Lewis. This one's on stories, they're collected essays, I believe, on how C.S. Lewis viewed stories. The other is The Reading Life, and I thought this really fits with my plan for this year to read 365 books. Finding God's Life from My Will by Mike Donaghy. This one was my favourite non-fiction of 2020. I borrowed a copy of a friend and I wanted to have a copy for myself. And I bought that in December. Well, it's a great book and I can't wait to read it again. The last one is a Dutch book, but it's actually a translated work. It's by Timothy Keller. The Dutch title is Goed Werk, but the original title is, let me check, Every Good Endeavour, Connecting Your Work to God's Work. Whilst we're on the Dutch books, the next couple of books I'm going to show you are some Dutch books. Some of them are originally Dutch, I will show them first, and then I got some more translated books, and after that it will be only English books. The first Dutch book is by a Dutch author, Marianne Grandia, and it's called Koorden van Liefde, which can be translated, I think, as Chords of Love, something like that. It's from a phrase from the Bible, and I should probably have looked it up before I filmed this video, but it's getting dark soon and I really want to finish this video. Actually, I don't know the subject of this book, but it's a second installment in, I think it's supposed to become a trilogy, but the author is still writing the 3rd book. This author writes very emotional stories connected to Christianity. I do not always love that combination, but this author does a really great job at it. The other 2 original Dutch books I'm going to show you are actually written by 2 authors who live in the same village as me. I didn't even get signed copies, but the first one is called Flirt by an author, Lisette van der Heg. If you see this cover you might think it's actually a romance novel or something like that, but I read the cover text and it's actually about a woman who's married and her only son just moved out for college and her mum or dad, I should quickly check, her mum passes away. Well, her husband doesn't really comfort her and she has this empty nest syndrome and then someone else starts showing interest in her. And this book is about marriage and about can you restore marriage once one of them has had an affair. It's a very heavy subject, but I believe it will be a well-written book. I've read several books by this author. Sure, it will be a great read. And the other last original book, Dutch book, is Ik hou je vast by Marina Volkers. You can translate this title in several ways, like I'll hold you close or I'll keep you. And before I'm going to be definite on the translation, I want to read the book first. This is a feel-good romance book, but you won't read it on the back, but what I got from reviews and actually things the author shared on her Instagram was that it also has a heavy subject in it. It's more than just a feel-good story. So the next few books are in Dutch but are translated works. So I will also be able to mention the English title. First one, the Dutch title, Dochter van Rome by Tessa Afsar. I'm not entirely sure if I say her last name correct. The translation is very literal because English is Daughter of Rome. They didn't do much changes over there. It's a biblical fiction. I've read all the other books by Tessa Afsar and she is one of my favorite authors where biblical fiction is considered. It's about the early days of the church and I'm quite interested in how this story develops. I've been waiting for this book for over a year, so I might have read it already. This is also a biblical fiction book, For de Leeuwen, Dutch title, by Mezu Andrews. I have no idea. I'm sorry if I just butchered your name. And the original title is Of Fire and Lions, and it's about the prophet Daniel. You'll probably know him. He was the one in the lion's den. And I think the main character of this book is his wife, what I take from the text on the back. And I read another book by this author and I really liked it, so I'm quite curious what this book will bring. This one, Lichtboei by Erin Hannon. This is really strange. I'm saying her name in English and the title in Dutch. And the original title of this book, it's the 4th book in the Hope Harbor series, if you know the author. The original title, where are you? Did they not put it in it? Oh yeah, they did, but it's not like in cursive or anything. Pelican Point. So it's about this lighthouse, I believe, and well, I've read the other 3 books in this series, but this is actually the first book that I own. I read the other books on my Kobo reader, but I'm intending to save up so I have the entire series. So you'll probably see more of this author in future book haul videos. Another Dutch book which was translated is Dietrich Mijn Liefste by Amanda Barrett, and it's, I think, yeah, the English title is My Dearest Dietrich, and it's historical fiction of the fiance of Dietrich Bonhoeffer. I don't know how to say his name, but lately I've been very interested in his works and I can't wait to read this book about his fiancée. And the last Dutch book which was translated from English to Dutch is Tussen de Regels by Rachel Hawke, and the original title is The Fifth Avenue Story Society and it's about a book club. I mean, I have never read a book by Rachel Hawke before, but if there's a book that is about a book club, I will most likely read it. I can't wait for this one either, but I can't wait for all those books. I want to read all the books, so I'm going to hurry now because then I will be able to read more. So the next book is actually a book I had not heard of before, but a friend of mine actually sent me a picture of the Goodreads Choice Awards, the results, and Anxious People by Frederick Backman came second. The difference was like 4 votes or something. I love everything by Frederick Backman. The book that beats his book should be a great book too. So I ordered the Midnight Library after the Goodreads Choice Award results came in. Like I said, I love Frederick Backman, so I ordered Us Against You, the sequel to Beartown. I've heard many mixed reviews on this one, but I think even if it isn't as great as Beartown, I will most likely like it and read it. So I ordered it and I'll dive into it soon. Obviously I also had to buy Anxious People by Frederick Backman. I bought a lot of books with people in them. Yeah, obviously all books have people in them, but I also got Seeing Other People by Mike Gill and his newest book, All the Lonely People. So yeah, I got books with people in them. Last year I read 2 books by Mike Gill and he soon became one of my favourite authors. Also got Half a World Away. I read this one in September last year. I borrowed it from a friend, the same friend that also lent me Finding God's Life for My Will. And this book, the story was so gripping, and I loved the cover of the book. So I decided I had to get my own copy of Half a World Away too. One other novel I got is Days of Wonder by Keith Stewart. Last year I read A Boy Made of Blocks because I got it from a charity shop for £1 when I was in the UK, and I thought, well, let's just try it. And I thought that was a beautiful story, and I discovered that he wrote another book, and I decided I had to get it. So here's my copy of Days of Wonder. This is actually the only book from the stack that I already read. I know I read Half a World Away and Finding God's Life from Our Will, but I did not read those particular copies, but I read this one, Christmas at Little Beach Street Bakery. It was a fun read actually. I already finished this one, and it was a funny, feel-good, Christmassy read. This book, The Girl in the Blue Coat by Monica Hesse, I bought because Hayley from Hayley in Bookland would not stop talking about it, and I love historical fiction and I enjoy reading books about the Second World War. And I think this particular book, because it takes place in Amsterdam, but it's written by a American author, I believe. I looked it up. I'm really interested to see what this story will be like. I used to read a lot of books about the war when I was a child, but those were all written by Dutch people, so they had their national pride came into it, and this is just entirely different story. At least that's what I think. So the next book is actually a book that's on my nightstand. It's The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse by Charles Mackesy. Well, it's a beautiful book with beautiful pictures, and it's not like a book you read, but you flip through occasionally to get some of the beautiful lessons on kindness and how to live your life. Okay, there's only 2 books left now. The first one is The Solar Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I read The Night Circus and I thought it was great. So this is another book. I just ordered it because I liked another book that the author wrote. And I love this cover. I mean, it's beautiful, isn't it? And lastly, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, a Hunger Games novel. Well, I simply had to have this because I enjoyed the Hunger Games, and although I've read some mixed reviews on it, I am excited to dive into this book. But when you see this video, I'm probably already read it. I'm quite curious what I think of it at this moment. I hope you like to see me haul these books. I had great fun making this video. I also had great fun ordering these books. If you like this video, you might give it a thumbs up. And if you want to follow me on my journey where I read 365 books, then consider subscribing to my channel. For now, happy reading.